But I'm very delighted to say that Harry Miller joins us now. He's from Fair Copy. He's a former police officer who, by the way, of course, went all the way, I think it was to the Supreme Court, wasn't it, Harry, over your non-crime hate incident. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the Supreme Court because the College of Policing backed down.
That was it, yeah. But you took it all the way. We're very proud of you. We're very proud of you. Now, look, let's just go back into the details of this dossier. A, we wouldn't know about it if it hadn't been leaked and Policy Exchange think tank had got hold of it. But the number of things that it suggests. One is that police should record more non-crime hate incidents, not fewer. It also says that, I mean, I just do think quite extraordinary, that two-tier policing claims, so people saying, look, you know, there's different ways of policing different, should we say, communities is the euphemism in this country, or an extreme right-wing narrative, according to this internal review. It recommends sweeping changes to our approach to combating extremism. It says that right-wing extremists frequently exploit the grooming gang scandal, which astonishingly it refers to as the alleged group-based sexual abuse, to promote anti-Muslim sentiment. I don't know what's alleged about it. I mean, we all know it's been happening. But it also said our approach to tackling extremism shouldn't be based on specific ideologies like Islamism or far-right, but it should look at behaviours and activity of concern, because there's a massive range of beliefs and ideologies. And this ties into, of course, this was post the Southport attack by Axel Rudikabana and the Southport riots, but it basically was saying, you know, this man didn't fit into a particular ideology, so you need to widen it. Harry, what do you make of it all?
Well, the first thing about non-crime hate incidents is this: they serve no useful purpose whatsoever. They haven't prevented a single crime, and that's not me speculating. This is a result of FOIs to every single police.
Freedom of information requests, yeah. Freedom,
said, you know, how successful they've been, and they came back and said, we don't know, we don't do any analysis. We see non-crime hate and crime as separate and distinct. We also contacted the College of Policing and asked them what empirical or academic research they'd done as to the effectiveness of non-crime hate incidents, and of course the answer came back they hadn't done
and
any.
They were the body that had advised the policing college that, you know, college police, that there's this theory, isn't it, that you have these non-crime hate incidents, that you basically tackle it at the source, and then you don't end up with extreme violence, and there's just simply no evidence for this.
No evidence whatsoever. It's all based on a 1953 work by a fellow called Gordon Allport.
Yeah, let's not go into all the details, but it's a theory.
What I'm saying is there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Now, what the police have found and the government have found is that they serve as a handy way around the criminal justice system. That you are able, with a non-crime hate instance, which by the way requires no evidence whatsoever, all it's down to is somebody's perception, they are able to mark you out as the wrong sort. They are able to stamp your head that says wrong'un on it, and then they are able, as a result of that, then keep eyes on you, because the theory goes that you are a potential terrorist. Now, this morning, Fair Cop tweeted out a whole list of things that can get you on the terrorist these days, saying that 100% of women do not have a penis. Is one of them. That Tommy Robinson might just occasionally have a point to link Pakistani grooming gangs, to link grooming gangs with Pakistanis. All of these things are likely to get you not only into trouble with the police, but are likely to cause there to be a knock on the door from Prevent. Let's not forget, it's only a few months ago that Prevent turned up at a house because the person in the house had what they thought was a Anglo-Saxon helmet. And to the police and Prevent, an Anglo-Saxon helmet is evidence of you being a right-wing extremist. And therefore they knock at your door and they have eyes on you.
But also, I mean, even leaving aside the non-crime hate incident side of things, and again, they are very serious. They can prevent people from getting jobs in the future. And again, this is thought police stuff anyway, and very unfair. And again, police aren't investigating enough crimes, so could they maybe focus on actual crimes, not non-crimes, would seem to be the view of the vast majority of the public. But in terms of like what they are saying in terms of, you know, what potential extreme violent or terrorist perpetrators we should look at, that actually, you know, we shouldn't focus on ideology, you know, Islamism or far right. I mean, we had an issue with, you know, incels. You know, we know that far right extremism has been a big cause of violence in America. There has been a source of violence in the UK. We know, you know, we've had the awful killing of Joe Cox. We've had the Finsbury Park mosque attack. But the vast majority, 80–90% of all attacks in this country are carried out by people motivated by Islamist ideology. 80–90% of the deaths from attacks in this country are carried out by people motivated by Islamist ideology. But they're saying, no, 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 we should look at lots of other things as well. But that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's political expediency. Unfortunately, repeated governments have not wanted to cause offence to large constituents of Muslims. And as a result of that, if you can't name the problem, you can't solve the problem. Yeah. And that's why we're very happy to talk about Pakistani grooming gangs attacking white working class women. And by the way, it's not only white working class women. There's a report in the Telegraph this weekend about how young Sikh women are also unfortunately, the unfortunate victims of these Pakistani grooming gangs. Yeah. So it's not simply a white thing. Yeah. It's a willing blindness, a politically expedient myopia towards offending the Muslim community. Yeah. And the way they do this is by they are forever chasing this mythical right wing. Now, of course, there is right wing terrorism, but do we ever hear about the alt left? Do we ever hear alt left, left wing, extreme left wing terrorist? You can declare yourself an extreme left winger with total impunity.
Oh, you can march on the streets and the police will protect your rights to do so.
Absolutely.
But this is the bizarre thing. And again, what is now regarded as extreme right wing is actually largely most people's views, and also it's largely fact-based as well. And again, we're into this territory where you've got people working in the Home Office and at the highest levels of the police who are totally out of touch with normal British opinion.
That's right. And of course, what they're doing is they're erasing language like they did in 1984's Newspeak. So you can't talk about grooming gangs within the same sentence as Pakistani men, because it's forbidden. It is, to use the language of 1984, is double on good. Yeah. And we cannot be having this, because if we cannot describe our situation, we cannot get the police's attention to solve it. And so we are left absolutely adrift from the criminal justice system, because they have robbed us of our language to describe what's happening to us. And this is an absolute scandal, and it's a crime. The police have become language police. They have become criminals going through the dictionary and purging it of everything that could hold them to account.
But we know that so many in the political world, and not just in Labour, the Tories have been pretty bad about this as well. Certainly the Lib Dems, the Greens, are totally signed up to all this stuff, where their first reaction to anything, the murder of David Amess, the Tory MP, by an Islamist extremist. What happened in Southport, Axel Rudabakana's horrific would have been a massacre of 26 girls if he'd had his way, rather than the awful deaths of 3 and 8 other girls horribly injured. Their first reaction is, oh, we need to do something about the internet and social media and hurty words and hate speech. Never about, we need to actually stop madmen killing people.
Yeah, and not only that, but Keir Starmer's first reaction was to say, oh, the Pakistani community are really hurting right now. Oh. Well, what about the white community?
Well, my thing is there isn't a Pakistani community, there isn't a white community. I
agree. Well, that was
just
Keir
people.
Starmer's first. That was what Keir Starmer was focused on, this mythical, hurt and grieving Pakistani community. No care at all for those who are worried sick about their own children, whether they be Sikh children, whether they be white children, or just non-Muslim children. There is no care at all for that, because the second that you express a concern for that community, for your own community, for communities which are non-favoured, non-Islamic, then you are immediately seen as extreme right.
And again, for me, it's the fact that we spend all this time dividing people into their religions that as an atheist, I just find it utterly bewildering. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in people's religions or their ethnicity. I think it's totally, I'm interested in what people say and what they do. It's the only thing that interests me.
Well, I'm an evangelical Christian, and I don't give a monkey's if you want to take the absolute, rip a new one into me. If you want to criticise Christianity, you can do it. You can do it every day and twice on a Sunday if you want to, because I don't expect my religion and my set of beliefs to be protected.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that has been a key fact, hasn't it? Harry, we're going to have to leave it there. I so appreciate you joining us this morning. Harry Miller from Fair Cop, former police officer as well, on that Home Office dossier. Claire, I mean, there are a lot of people who are very angry, and understandably so, about this and what is going on at the Home Office. But this dossier, this leaked dossier, it just does really reveal just like, I mean, a rottenness at the core of the Home Office, doesn't it?
It really does. And I think people are going to not believe a word that comes out of the Home Secretary's mouth from this point onwards.
Did we anyway? I mean, I've interviewed Yvette Cooper in the past. Let's be honest, Yvette Cooper doesn't actually believe in borders. Yvette Cooper's never been able to give me a number on how many migrants would you want in the country.